What's up, guys? It's NFL Week 15, and this is a DraftKings NFL Week 15 first look. We're going to go through it all. We're going to look at the matchups. We're going to look at the salaries. We're going to go position by position and get our first kind of thoughts for NFL Week 15. For a lot of you guys, this is going to be the first week of the playoffs for your fantasy football league. So this will be a good exercise to also get an idea of what are some matchups to target. And if you have some choices, of course, which ones to go with and who's going to be a good spot. So let's get right into it. NFL Week 15 on DraftKings. And first thing I'm going to do is just pull up the sportsbook here and just get a look at some of the totals, the spreads, and all of that to get a feel for some of these matchups. So right off the bat, I see we've got the Jets at the Jaguars, 41.5 point total. This one's gross. Guys, the Jets, Tyrod Taylor went out last week. They're playing the third string guy. It's a disaster. Jaguars are minus 11.5 in this game. We're going to load up on Jaguars defense all day. This is going to be a defense we're going to want to pay up for. When a team rolls out the third string quarterback, you want to play defense against them, very much like what Seattle did to like Max Brosmer 2 weeks ago, where they broke the slate with a 30-pointer. Beyond that, I don't know, maybe Travis Etienne here? I guess. We'll think about it. All right, next up, we've got Arizona at the Texans. And is this the end of the Jacoby Brissett to Michael Wilson bandwagon that we've been riding for weeks and weeks and weeks? I believe it is. This is not the spot that we want to target a wide receiver. So, man, we'll see you next week, Michael Wilson. He's also been priced up to a crazy level here on DraftKings, so it's fine. Texans side, really interesting. Nick Chubb came out of the game last week, and you got a ton of carries from Woody Marks. So I'm really interested in that. And of course, Nico Collins, the usual suspects in what will be a really good matchup for the Texans. Bills at the Patriots, 49.5 point total. That's pretty impressive. Patriots home, 1.5 point favorites. This game should be close. It looks like it's going to be hard fought. And, two really good teams going at it. Both teams play pretty good defense as well. So I could see this game going a lot of different ways. All right, next we have the Bengals at home taking on the Ravens, 51.5 point total. Bengals, 2.5 point home underdog. I like this game. I like this game on both sides. The Bengals situation, actually almost even more interesting. T. Higgins with the concussion, probably not going to play. My guess would be it'd take more than a week to come back from the concussion. So we'll get maybe Yoshivas in that one. Ravens side, same deal. Isaiah Likely. You never really feel great about any of their offensive pieces, but Likely and Zay Flowers both had a pretty good week last week, so we'll keep an eye on those guys. Commanders at the Giants. First of all, it's Jackson Dart. Okay? Every time Jackson Dart is on the slate, I'm going to play some Jackson Dart. Let's keep it real. On the Commanders side, they are probably going to be rolling out Marcus Mariota here. So, it's 47.5 point total. Giants are favored. That's exciting at home. But I think this game could actually be really interesting and could produce quite a bit of fantasy goodness. Not really sure where, as the Giants wide receiver group is not that impressive. But I like the quarterbacks on both sides of the I like both of these quarterbacks for sure. Browns at the Bears, 40.5 point total. Can Shedeur Sanders repeat that crazy game from last week? Probably not. But you never know. Besides that, this is probably a game to avoid. I usually like to avoid players against the Browns. And I also like to avoid teams like the Browns that have like a minuscule team total. So moving on. Titans at the 49ers, 44.5 point total. 49ers are at home. 12.5 point favorites. We all know what that means. It means Christian McCaffrey season, right? Heavy home favorite running back. That's a good spot for Christian McCaffrey this week, so let's pay attention to that. 49ers also have low-cost wide receivers like Juwan Jennings and Pearsall that I want to keep in my player pool this week for the smash game. Lions at the Rams. Man, this is a big game. 54.5 pointer. Rams play good defense. Lions play good defense. But they also play good offense, both of these teams. So this one has a lot of potential. Obviously, 54.5 point total. I'm a little surprised at how high it is, considering it's a Rams home game, and the Rams are kind of the defensive team. But here we are. This is what we have. So we'll pay attention to this one as well. This could be one of those games that, pieces that you might sleep on might pop. Amon-Ra, Gibbs against the good rush defense. Who cares? Puka, of course, Puka. Puka's going to smash here. Of that, there's no doubt. Panthers at the Saints. This one's not super inspiring if I'm being real. Panthers have that Dowdle, Chuba Hubbard kind of situation going on. Tough to predict. I like on the Saints side, Devin Neal kind of has emerged as a low-cost running back option. So, yeah, there might be some low-cost options to pay attention to in that one. Packers at the Broncos, 42.5-point total. This nothing really exciting about that. We've got the Colts with the backup quarterback heading out to Seattle. Oh my goodness. Lock button Seattle defense, right? We're going to be paying up on defense between Jaguars and Seattle. I don't even know which one's better. We're going to pay up on defense. It's crazy, but hey, that's what we're going to do. Vikings at the Cowboys. Again, McCarthy coming off of a competent game last week. Can he keep it up? We'll see. On the Cowboys side, they may or may not have lost CeeDee Lamb for this week. We'll have to find out what that injury entails. Pickens looking for some, what would he call it? Pickens looking to knock the stank off of that last game, right? It was terrible. He was terrible. What's he doing out there, Pickens? So this one could be interesting as well with Dak and all. It's a lot of good games this week. Really a lot of standout spots. It's really going to be a good one. Actually, was that the Sunday nighter? Yeah, that's the Sunday night Vikings at the Cowboys. So we'll worry about that on Sunday night. All right, over to DraftKings, and let's take a look at the player pool, see where some of these players are priced this week and kind of get a feel for what we're going to be able to do. So, of course, Josh Allen is always good. Monster game last week, 37.5 points. I told you guys, unstacked Josh Allen. Just naked Allen. You don't need anything. That's the way to play Josh Allen. Always without a stack. He spreads the ball around, but also a lot of the scoring comes from his legs, his spreading around the football. It's not a good scene to stack him. Matthew Stafford here in that massively high total game. He's the high quarterback. We haven't really seen Stafford kind of give you those had to have it with a pay up option type numbers. 7K, you're really looking for like a 35 out of your quarterback. We haven't seen that quite yet, but this game could break that mold. It could. Jalen Hurts home against the Raiders. Yeah, all right. Drake May, always priced up. Hasn't done anything to earn this salary level either. And, this is a game that could pop a little bit and they're at home. But I don't know. Probably not where I'm going to go. Joe Burrow at home against Baltimore. Sure, why not? I like Joe Burrow better when T. Higgins is there. But, I think a couple of things. If we can afford him, Burrow to Chase is going to be an important stack this week. Not who I'm going to build around, but I like that spot. I'm trying to get a lower cost quarterback in this lineup. Now I'm going to talk up. So Mahomes, at home against the Chargers, that's fine too. I don't have high hopes for it, but could be okay. Lamar Jackson on the road against the Bengals. I know the Bengals are going to score. They don't play good defense. The Ravens have to answer. How does he not smash in the spot? I don't know if ownership is going to be high on him, low, or whatever. But the fact that this guy's salary is down now to $6,400. Sure, Derrick Henry could take over this game, but he hasn't been doing that all year long. He hasn't been doing the thing where he takes over a game. Yeah, outside of week 1, right? He hasn't been doing it. He could, but if he's not doing that, I don't know how this game transpires with Lamar not scoring 23 plus. Now, I wish Lamar ran more than he's been doing of late. He ran a little bit in this last game. I just think they're going to be falling behind potentially. I love this situation. I normally don't. They normally have Lamar priced all the way up. Now that he's down here in kind of in the plebs with the people, the regular humans, I like it. I like the $6,400 price point. He's really easy to stack. Isaiah Likely coming off the big week last week. I'm going to plug him in. I don't mind this spot, but I'm going to keep going. There's a couple other quarterbacks I really, really like. Herbert, okay. Purdy, nothing doesn't stand out to me. Jared Goff could be all right here on the road, I guess. Revenge narrative. Could be okay. One thing working maybe in Goff's favor is that the Rams are really good against the run. So you would think that even if it goes to Gibbs and these other spots, that Goff would get some credit for that. So I don't mind Goff. He'll be in my mix. Knicks, no, not really. How did he do this week? Yeah, I don't really normally play Knicks. I've only kind of regretted it the 1 week, so I'm not going to get too excited about that. Darnold in a smash matchup we kind of see what he does when he's going to smash a team. Best case scenario, about a 23. That's not too bad, but that is best case scenario, I would say, here. Trevor Lawrence, again, I'm not so sure that Lawrence is going to be needed in a non-competitive matchup. So, all right. Now, the big one. Jackson Dart coming off a dud in New England, but who didn't think that that was going to be a dud? I say go right back to him. If Lamar wasn't in there, Dart is going to be in there. I love Dart. 5,600. We could save some money. So why do I like him? He's at home against the Commanders. The Commanders are somewhat of a broken team right now. They will run heavy with Mariota in there, and they'll try to slow this game down, but they just don't have the pieces to do that. Who's going to do it? Chris Rodriguez Jr.? So they try to do this run-heavy thing, but it doesn't really work. So I think the Giants are going to have plenty of opportunities in this game. Commanders' defense is absolutely putrid. So this is one of those spots where Jackson Dart should be able to shine. I like it. The only thing that might hold this back is if, like, the Giants running backs take all the touchdowns, which could happen. It could happen in these kind of spots, but I really like Dart. I think I like Lamar just a tad more, but I like the savings that we're getting going down from Lamar to Dart. So I'm going to leave this in here for now, but I'm going to be open to switching back. All right, couple other quarterbacks to potentially talk up here. Oh, man. The only other one I really got is Mariota. Mariota's got, pretty acceptable scores for most of his starts. Nothing crazy, but, I mean, this is the Giants' defense. Very bad. He put up a 24.3 against Denver. Denver's pretty good. So I think Mariota's got to be in play here at 5K as well. Tyler Shook, you know what? It's hard to deny Tyler Shook either. I mean, this guy's been getting it done. He's ran for 2 touchdowns last week. We need to get crazy. Could be stupider than playing Tyler Shook down here at 4,900. Do you want to believe that Shedeur can do it again? That it wasn't a fluke, that this is the new Shedeur? You needed Shedeur last week if you wanted to win $1 million. Shedeur to Fannin. I'm not sure I'm going to buy into it, but, it's interesting. And it's definitely something to watch. I think the cheapest quarterback on the slate, usable, right? We're not using Riley Leonard or whatever the hell the Colts are rolling out. But the cheapest, is it Pickett? Nah, I think not. I think he's too garbage not against the Eagles. No, absolutely not. No, I don't allow it. All right, moving on to the running back position. Week 15. Let's start at the top here. I said at the onset when we talked about the matchups, could there be a better matchup than at home as a massive favorite against the Titans? A Titans team that really is not very good against the run. I'm going to plug in Christian McCaffrey. He feels like a really safe floor, has some ceiling there as well if they just let him go. There is some blowout risk here, but I think even in the worst case scenario, we're looking at a 15 to 20 point type of game. 16, 15, usually catches a bunch of passes. He should be a pretty good spot, but can we afford a 9K running back? Let's see. Jahmyr Gibbs, coming off a monster game, doing most of his work via the pass. This is like Achane on steroids. I'm cool with it. You always want to play Gibbs. He's always good. Jonathan Taylor, underdog. No. James Cook on the road against New England for 8K. 8, 16, 24, 32. 32. Man, this is a tough ask. This is a big ask for him to go up against that nasty New England run defense and put up a 30. I say no. Good. Derrick Henry, yes, playable. Even last week against Cleveland, they started getting, November. It's December. Derrick Henry, yes. I say yes to Derrick Henry, 7,100. Playable. Jacobs. Saquon Barkley. Let's see how Saquon, maybe, right? Saquon's been pretty mid, but I think we keep him in the player pool at 7,100. Josh Jacobs, no. Not at Denver. Bad spot. Let's see what he did last week. Chalky, 17.2. Got all the work you needed, really. 20 touches, 2 receptions. Always love to see a little more receptions, but this player does not catch a ton of passes regularly. I'm going to mostly be off of Jacobs for the rest of the season. I think the return of Jaden Reed, I think kind of how the pass catching group for the Packers seems to be shaping out will kind of negate his pass catching ability, which will leave us with, our yardage and touchdowns guy, which is not what I want. Kyren Williams coming off a smash game. My goodness, right? Got it done against Arizona last week, him and Blake Corum. And that's the problem. Blake Corum was all over that game as well. I'm not paying $7K for a split running back. No bueno. It's a no for me, dog. All right, so we got Chase Brown. Also, the volume hasn't been great. Let's see what Pirine did compared to Brown. And Brown scored a bunch of touchdowns and still didn't have that big of a score. Yeah, Pirine 6 carries, 1 reception. So, and then Brown he had a big game. Chasbro put up an 18, got 2 touchdowns. It's not great. It's not great for this price. It's not my favorite spot. Playable, but the volume hasn't been that great. And, I don't hate it. I like it a little bit, but not enough. Not that much. Rico Dowdle, another guy who, you know what? I don't mind this spot for Rico. I wish the price was a little bit lower, but Rico can get there, but it feels more like a tournament play. Like I'm not that secure in it. ETN also probably a pretty good spot against the Jets here. Big favorite, 6,500. Not going to get a lot of receptions out of ETN either, but I think that's a playable spot. Judkins disappointed everybody. What happened? Only 14 carries, 3 targets, 1 reception. Didn't get the touchdown. Almost got there. Just needed a touchdown to sort of have an acceptable day. Didn't get there. And, it is what it is. Matchup is good again this week against Chicago. It's fine. I'm sure he'll get a lot of touches, so we'll see how that goes. Usually the pendulum swings back. Like swung away from him last week to the pass. Will it swing back? That has a lot to do with what Shedeur Sanders does. Breece Hall, no. Trevion Henderson, I do not trust him at this price. RJ Harvey, tough matchup. Kind of want to see how much usage he got here. Last 17 carry, man, he got a lot of that. Whoa, 6 out of 6. Okay. All right, wait a second. That was not too bad. Now he's back at home against the Packers. Packers pretty good run defense. But you know what? I'm going to leave RJ Harvey in the player pool. The volume was there. They really didn't play anyone else. Yeah. McLaughlin, 4 carries, 1 target. So, I like what I see out of RJ Harvey now that I'm looking at the game log, and I'm cool with it. I don't mind him. 6K. It's not the best of matchup, but is at home. Marion, we'll see what he does. I don't have the game logs yet as I am recording this during Monday Night Football, but he's looking good. That said, this is not a great matchup on the road as an underdog, so just all right with it. Just okay with it. Janty against the Eagles, heavy underdog situation. Who's the quarterback? Wait a second. Oh, yeah, Kenny Pickett. Gross. Maybe, you know what? I don't know if it's gross or better. We don't know what he's going to be like with Pickett. No, it wasn't that great for the most part with Geno, so it can't be worse. Yeah, DeAndre Swift. The DeAndre Swift's, against Cleveland, can't go there. I mean, low-key, he's been getting a lot of carries, but I think against Cleveland, that's a tough matchup. Vidal, no. Woody Marks, here we go. This guy's making the lineup. 26 carries, 3 targets. He got the touchdown. On the negative side, even with all that work, he still only got like a 15.8 this past week. Not that impressive. But more impressive to me is just the overall volume that he saw. That was a brutal matchup against Kansas City. Most running backs are going to struggle against the Chiefs, which is why Omarion Hampton, not that good of a play. But this week we get Arizona, who has been... So to understand what Arizona is that team that allowed Blake Corum to put up a 33 last week, alongside with Kyron Williams putting up a monster number. So, the backup running back here was getting 128 yards, 2 touchdowns. Come on. We're playing Woody Marks this week. Let's go. Home, favored running back with Nick Chubb banged up. Now, if Nick Chubb comes back, all bets are off. But Nick Chubb got banged up, got taken out of the game last week, and that's where all that wonderful volume came for Woodrow Marks. So I say, let's go right back to it. Kenny Walker, the hipsters love Kenny Walker. They've been waiting to hipster high five this guy getting a touchdown for weeks. The problem is he never freaking scores. For a guy that doesn't catch a pass, we need touchdowns. He's only got 4. It's week 15. Was he injured? No. He played. He just hasn't gotten any touchdowns. So can he get a touchdown? Sure. Could it happen? Of course it could happen. But do I want to build my lineups around that? No, I don't think so. Nope. Not me. Not today, Satan. All right, moving on. So I'm paying attention to Tyrone Tracy. It does look like he's going to play. If Tracy wasn't going to play, I was going to be very excited about Devin Singletary. D Sizzles, that's what's up. But the problem is, it does look like Tyrone Tracy's going to play. That kind of ruins it. Hunt, no. Benson, no. Devin Neal, 19 touches, got a reception. This is an acceptable spot. Now, do I think we're going to get a smash score, 150 yards, anything like that? Do I even think this guy is actually talented? I don't know. Not really. He's fine. He's okay. But a $5,300 running back in a pretty acceptable, not that hard matchup, that's fine. They're against Carolina. They're one of the worst run defenses in the league. If there was ever a time for Devin Neal to have a big game, this is that time. Let's make it happen, Devin Neal. Let's throw him in there in the fight. Now, we're not going to play 3 running backs. Don't get me crazy. I'm not going crazy here, but I don't think this is a 3 running back week. But Devin Neal, that price, acceptable. There's one other running back I want to mention. And I thought of him because when I was talking about his quarterback, I was thinking about how that team with that quarterback in play does like to run the football more than usual. And that's Chris Rodriguez Jr. I know, it's funny. It's funny to even say it. But C-Rod is now effectively the starting running back, right? He's going to get most of the carries. Do I love it? No. But is it terrible? No, I think it's a sneaky little under 5K running back play against the worst rush defense in the NFL, or one of the worst rush defenses in the NFL. This should be a fun game. I'm telling you, that Giants Commanders game is a lot more exciting than I think it's being given credit for. All right, I'm going to leave the starting pair, though, McCaffrey and Woody Marks. Those are the two right now as of first look. This is my first look at the slate where I'm like, yeah, those two make a lot of sense to me. All right, let's keep going. We're going to take a look at the wide receiver position, NFL Week 15 on DraftKings, and right at the Puka. Puka's on the slate, 8,700, very expensive. Puka coming off a monster game, finally. 2 touchdowns, 167 yards. Where have you been, my Puka? Where have you been? We haven't seen this all season. Great game for Puka. I think more is coming. More of that is coming. This is that game. This is that game where we want to try to get this guy in our lineup. So, great. Jackson Smith and Jigba, this is that game where I probably don't want to get, he's getting it done anyway. Non-competitive, competitive, it doesn't matter. He keeps getting it done. Got Jamar Chase with no T. Higgins? Sure, why not? We haven't seen that big game out of him yet with Burrow, but it's coming. It's going to happen. Could be this week. Amon-Ra in that great matchup against the Rams. So we've got a lot of really good spots here. So out of these 4, all great. Can we afford it? Probably not, based on having Christian McCaffrey in there, but I'm definitely going to want to have a ton of exposure to Puka, then Amon-Ra, then Chase, then JSN, in that order as of right now. That's kind of how I see it. Rice, tougher matchup, tough price point, just all right. Devontae Adams, good spot as well. Devontae has not delivered totals that quite match up to the salary level because a lot of the work he's doing is via the touchdown. He's got the opposite problem. We're not seeing those 100-yard games. We're not seeing insane volume. So I think he's a little bit egregiously priced here, but it is a really good matchup. A.J. Brown can pop off whenever at this point. Had a 38-pointer a couple weeks ago. Fine. But one of the names that pops a little bit more for me here is Nico Collins, right? He's coming off a decent outing as well. He tends to, put up big plays. If he gets the touchdown last week, we're all singing the praises. I like the price point, 6,700. He's very consistent, 16 fantasy points per game, 6, 12, 18. I mean, he's dancing next to 2.5, almost 3x his average, his salary and his average score. Yeah, I don't mind Nico there. Michael Wilson, on the other hand, ooh, my boy, he's been core play for me. Even in the week where Marvin Harrison Jr. started and he failed, he was core. Like I've had him all 4 of these weeks. It's been great. He's been a big reason why we've been crushing up until last week, where this was so chalk that it didn't really even help anything. But that being said, 6,600 now, going up against Derek Stingley Jr. and that nasty Houston defense. I hate to say it, but I think it's time to look elsewhere. So no Wilson, T. Higgins, concussion. Lad McConkey, no consistency, but, somebody to be in the player pool. I do like Zay Flowers here. Zay's coming off a decent game, 11 targets. They finally woke up and started throwing to him. He usually doesn't put good games in a row together. So, caution. But I do think I kind of like Lamar, and I don't mind Lamar stacked with Flowers as a starting point. So if we had Lamar in there, I don't mind that at all, stacked with Flowers as one of the approaches that I might use. Jameson Williams on a run. Let's go. 6,100. All right. It's kind of like playing T. Higgins when Amon-Ra is more like Chase, right? Whenever everybody's on Amon-Ra, maybe we want to shift gears here. That's the best I can do with that. Stephon Diggs, revenge narrative. I feel like Diggs especially did well when they played Buffalo the first time. Yeah, he did. There was some revenge narrative going on that makes me want to play him again here against the Bills, just because I could see him demanding the football. Now, that sounds stupid, and I get it. Revenge, come on. But I really do kind of think that there might be something to it, especially with him and his personality. So I don't mind Diggs. Tet McMillan, he's back. That's a good spot against New Orleans. Fine by me. Wandale, I have Dart in here, but Wandale's a little bit of, how would I put it? I mean, he had a monster game with Dart a couple of weeks ago, so hard to discount it. But usually, more often than not, he gets a bunch of targets and not too many catches. I do think Wandale is a safe floor player to stack up with Dart, though. So I'm going to put him in here for now. And he's more of a high floor guy. The ceiling is there, but he's more of a high floor guy for me. I'm going to plug him in. We got Devontae Smith. Always like Smith. Brian Thomas Jr., 6 targets last week. It's going up against the Jets. Could the resurrection of Brian Thomas Jr. actually happen this year? That's the question. 10 targets for Jacoby Myers. Got a touchdown. Not super efficient, but definitely seems to be the preferred wide receiver over there. Christian Watson, another core play from last week. Got it done. Not on a ton of targets, so it was a little scary, but he did get it done last week. Got a bunch of yards, got a big play, got a touchdown. I think we're going to see a lot more of that from Christian Watson. I don't even mind him here. I think we can go back to it. Cortland Sutton's always tends to be okay. He's not somebody I play a lot. Terry McLaurin with Mariota, we haven't seen them play together. Don't know what's going to happen. But I don't mind it. Debo and Terry, I think Terry's just the better guy. A couple of names here that I'm interested in. Juwan Jennings, part of this San Francisco game. If I was I don't mind. I also don't mind plugging Juwan Jennings in a lineup here. I think he's got a pretty high floor at 5K. He tends to be the preferred wide receiver, 6 targets for him. You're going to see here that Pearsall, when we look for Pearsall, the other guy there, 3 targets for him. So, whatever evidence we have seems to imply that Juwan Jennings is the preferred wide receiver over there. So I like that. I don't mind it. Johnston, okay. Burden, just okay here against Cleveland. Burden, did what we wanted last week. 6 targets, 4 receptions, 11 points. Didn't quite, break the slate, but the volume was there. He did all the things that we were hoping for outside of, breaking a big play. Keenan Allen, no. Dobbs, no. PJ Washington, no. Reed, not really exciting. Yeah, you could get there. I'll leave Reed in my player pool. I think Worthy, these kind of guys belong in the player pool, but no one that I want to get super excited about. 5 targets last week for Jerry Jeudy. He had a big play. Slayton with Dart could be interesting. He doesn't get a ton of volume, but you never know. Kind of switch up the quarterback. So Slayton could be interesting if we didn't have Wandale in there. Mitchell, no. DK, no. Mechie, no. Higgins, that's a maybe right there. Trey Tucker in my GPP player pool. Same with Veli, GPP player pool. But the guy that stands out to me over here is going to be Yoshivas, right? This is part of this Baltimore-Cincinnati game, and obviously Jamar Chase is awesome, but T. Higgins is probably going to be out, and I think Yoshivas at 4,100 is a pretty good value. I'm going to leave him in there. Let's see if there's anybody below 4K that's even interesting at all. Coker, maybe, right? Like Josati, Coker, maybe, right? Coleman, none of this is lighting me up. Tisla could be an interesting turd for the slate, I guess. Tisla, yeah, that's going to do it. All right, let's jump over to defense, and then we'll finish it off at the tight end position and the flex. But let's start at the bottom. I already know. Listen, we're Seahawks, right? That's who we want to play. If we're not playing them, we want to play the Jaguars. They're up against a third-string quarterback and a third string quarter. Seahawks at home is even a more must play. Actually, I'm going to plug that right in. But I'll talk through some of these other ones. Love the Jaguars, right? 49ers at home with Tennessee, that's fine. Eagles against Pickett, acceptable. Texans, Chicago, no. No, 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 no. Maybe Carolina if we want to pay down, but man, I'm trying to get to 3,700. Panthers, though, against Shook, I guess. No, no. Packers, no. Patriots, no. Browns against Chicago, maybe for 2,700. Keep them in the pool. Giants, no. Right? No. Commanders against the Giants, nope. Saints at home, yeah, 2,500. So there we go. That's probably one of our cheaper viable defenses. Saints at home against the Panthers, 2,500. There are worse spots, and that's about it. But I'm going to leave Seattle in here. This is who I want. We've been playing Seattle everywhere. Who the hell is this quarterback? Who the fuck is that guy? I don't even know. No one knows. All right, tight end position, NFL Week 15 here on DraftKings. Trey McBride, they brought his salary down a little bit from last week's prohibitive $8K. They got everybody off him just in time for him to have a bad game. Good job. Now he's up against Houston. That's a tough matchup for anybody. It's just not a good matchup. Bowers against the Eagles, also a tougher matchup. Bowers he kind of semi got it done last week, but now with Pickens in there, I just don't know what to expect. George Kittle, 5,400. I don't know that this projects as that kind of a game. Kelsey, I don't trust. Warren, hell no. Kincaid is a maybe with Josh Allen. He's been the only guy that's done anything with Josh Allen all year. Even in this game, if you stacked him, you didn't win the tournament, but it wasn't that bad. Gadsden against KC, maybe. Brenton Strange against the Jets. No. Here we go. Let's chase it. Let's chase the big game. 11 targets, 8 receptions. David Njoku gets hurt. Put him in. Get in my lineup. Howard, what's his name? Harold Fannin Jr. Get in my lineup. Anybody else though? But yeah, why wouldn't we play him here? The other names. So if we want to go down low, Mark Andrews is okay. Just got paid. This guy got a $40 million contract, and he proceeds to go 5 targets, 1 reception. You know why? Because he was at the club celebrating that money. Wasn't ready for the game. You'd be at the club too if you got $40 million. Mark Andrews isn't even that good. How the hell do you get paid that much? I don't know. Dallas Goedert, nah. Juwan Johnson, fine. Loveland's okay. But the other spots I like here, a little bit of Loveland there. Isaiah Likely, I think, is interesting. Mike Gesicki. Let's see what he did last week. Yeah, there it is. T. Higgins comes out of the game, and Mike Gesicki comes in and does Mike Gesicki things. A lot of times, he's the guy that gets the runoff when T is out. So, Mike Gesicki in the mix. Absolutely. Want to pay down a little bit from Fannin? Want to double tight end it? Bam. Want to get rid of this turd and upgrade somewhere else? We can do that. We could upgrade this turd spot right here. Wandale, not a big score expected. How about Amon-Ra? How about Jamar Chase? Oh, yeah. Double tight end. I would like to get to Puka, if I'm being real. But this is still pretty good. We do a lot of different things here. But there we go. Double tight end. Interesting potential play here. Isaiah Likely works as well. So, he came off the big game. 6 targets as well, 4 receptions. Not bad. Not as good as Gesicki, but not bad. That should just about do it for the tight end position. Yep, that'll do it. Evan Ingram, probably not. Right? So there we go. NFL Week 15 here on DraftKings. Should be interesting. It looks like the potential for double tight end is in play. We got Christian McCaffrey, super stud up top. We're going to be choosing from this group of studly awesomeness. Chase Flowers looks interesting. A lot of fun games, a lot of exciting games here, NFL Week 12. This is just the first look. Guys, if you want to check out DFS Army, all we have going on, we are continuing to rock all through the NFL season and beyond. Promo code GEEK, dfsarmy.com. You get 10% off. VIP, you get all the sports covered. Be part of our team, be part of our Discord, all that good stuff, guys. Helmets up. We'll see you all next time. Take care.